Today's session is related to creating user and profile. And in Salesforce application, user is the minimum entity where it should be created. Based on that, only a person or a user actually can go and work on that particular application. So what is user? And for all those things, let's start with that session. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Dhaniklas Sahani. I'm technical architect in content business solution. I'm certified application architect. And if you want to connect me, then you can use my Twitter handle Dhanik Sahani. My blog is salesforcecortex.com, which is related to Lightning integration, other architecture stuff as well. So if you face any issue while actually implementing those solutions which I have written on my blog, please ping me on the Twitter or this channel, our Twitter Telegram group, so that you can get a better help or instant help basically. Now, agenda is very small. Okay, who is user and how to create user in our Salesforce application? What are the setting which is on a user object which will be useful for us? We will see all those because normally we know the user is there, but in user also there are a lot of settings are there. So we should know what are the settings available, and then we will see what are the profile. These two minimum concept, user and the profile, is a minimum piece. Based on only the user can actually create it, and basically they can use our system. That's why we have clubbed two basically information on the feature, basically user and the profile. Okay, let's see what is user. It's okay, session is being recorded. Okay, now question is, who is user? A user is anyone who logs into the Salesforce application. So if I have created one application, now who can use that application? For that piece, user is there. Who can use this? That user is there who will actually going to use that system. Next, users can be a temporary or a regular. Temporary, basically, some like we have a consultant, we have hired consultant in our application to work and they develop, and after that they will go away. Okay, so for that we can normally call it a temporary employees, and we have a regular employees. For both, we will create a user in our Salesforce application. And what kind of application we can have in a Salesforce? Like if we have sales representative, they can be a user. We can have managers. We can have IT specialists. And for in case our case, we are developers. We have architects. We have tech leads. They all are users only. Okay. So these kind of users can be there in Salesforce application. Next, every user in a Salesforce has a user account. So for means if I am a user for any applications, for me a record will be created in a user object of that Salesforce application. So for every user, at least one record will be there in user object. Next, the user account identifies the user, and the user account setting determine what user and records the user can see. So basically, user account or user record say who are the person, and whatever setting we have applied, based on the setting, we can actually see the records or the feature in our Salesforce application. Like I want to work in a service cloud itself. So for that, I have to give a setting, or we have to enable the setting service cloud user. Then only he can able to access service cloud application. Otherwise, he cannot do that. So that those settings is also very important. So let's see what are those settings, what are the terms which for while we create user, we identify. We will see all these settings in demo as well. So first is user license. These three terms, user license, profile, and role, is very important for the while you create a new user. So user license. A user license determines the baseline feature the user can access. Now, what are the baseline features? In Salesforce, different kind of features available. Like we have a chatter user group or chatter user license where only user who will work as a chatter user, like a support executive, who actually only respond on the chats. So those license, there is a chatter license. Then we have a Salesforce license where all the Salesforce CRM related objects will be accessible. CRM means, right, normally we go with the sales and the service cloud features, account object, other customer object, or the lead opportunity, those things. And similar, we have a Salesforce CRM or Salesforce platform license. So Salesforce platform is the, you can say, license feature where only related to the application, custom application or the app extension product, if they want to use, then you will give a license related to Salesforce platform. In that case, probably they will not able to use other Service Cloud and Salesforce feature. So these are different kind of user licenses. Okay, every user must have exactly one user license. So when we create a user, at least we have to select one user license, and that is actually required property while you create a new user. So normally when we create as a developer account or a thing, we normally select Salesforce. But we want to create as a community user, for that will we have different license. So that we have to select based on our requirement. Second piece, we have roles. Roles basically it's determine what user can see in Salesforce based on the where they are located in the role hierarchy. So role hierarchy basically, your application or in your organization, a hierarchy is maintained for the users. Okay, like I have a customer support executive. After customer support executive, the tech lead is there, and tech lead is actually supervised by supervisor. Then we have a managers, and then we have a regional manager, and then we have a topmost CE. So this kind of hierarchy is maintained. So in that, if you want to implement this kind of role or this kind of role, and when you create a user, you want to put that user in this kind of hierarchy, maybe the customer support or the supervisor or the tech lead or the manager. So in that case, you will select roles. You can create a new your roles as well, or you can use existing role which is defined by the Salesforce by default. User at the top of the hierarchy can see all the data owned by the user below them. So I am the manager and I have a 2 customer support executive. So whatever record is created by the customer support executive, I can easily show that. I can easily see that. But when I will create a user, but all those 2 Salesforce executive or customer support executive which is below me, they can't see my record. So that's why the top person, they can see your records which is below below that hierarchy. User at the lower levels can't see data owned by the users above them or in other branches unless sharing rules grant them. So if you want to give the access to the record, which like I am the manager, I want to give the access to the support executive, then I have to give the access, the grant access, which is done by the sharing rule. These rules actually we will see in probably in second or third sessions, but we will implement that. So for giving that access, we have to use sharing rules to actually give the access so that lower level person can also see our record. Or if you want to say the other branches record also, in that case, we will go with the sharing rule. So in that case, role is very important. If you want to implement or you want to create a user, which will be work in the role kind of a hierarchy. Then we have a profiles. Profile determine what user can do in a Salesforce. So what user can do means what are the access is given to that user to work in that Salesforce application. So normally, I am a customer support executive. So normally, as a customer support executive, I cannot edit any record. I cannot delete any record. I have only access to read. Okay, that's it. So those kind of access is actually determined in the profile level. They come with a set of permissions with grant access to particular objects, field, tabs, and records. Using the profile, we can actually give access to the objects, fields, what tabs will be accessible, how many records it can see. All those permissions actually related to the objects, fields, records, and the fields will be actually derived by basically through the profile. Later stage, we have a permission set or the permission set group as well, which we will take care in the next session. So right now, as a basic criteria, in a profile is required, and in profile, we can give this kind of access. Each user can have only one profile. We cannot assign multiple profile to one user. These are three important features you can say you have to enable while you create a user. Roles is optional, but user license and profile is required property while you create a new user. Next, these are the settings which now we will discuss, the marketing user. So marketing user checkbox allows the user to create campaigns and use the campaign import wizard. So if you are running a sales cloud and or other marketing cloud, then if you have to enable this checkbox, then only the user will able to create campaigns and use the import wizard. If we will not enable this checkbox, then user can only view the campaign and they can check the campaign setup, but they will not able to create new contact, new campaign reports, other things. They will not able to create any campaign. So that's why marketing user is important if you want to give the user to create a campaign access. Now offline user. So offline user, actually we have a, you can say desktop client application in Salesforce, connect offline client. So if we want that the user can access our Salesforce application using connect offline client application, then we have to give this access offline user checkbox we have to enable in our Salesforce application. Next, we have a knowledge user. So if you want that a user can create knowledge articles, okay, which is normally used for the agents or the customer support. Actually, okay, what is the problem the customer has given, and for that problem, what are the solution available in our system? Okay, so for that we normally create articles. Okay, so if can the user can create those articles or not? So if we enable this, then only they can create a knowledge article. Otherwise, they will not able to create knowledge articles. Then we have a flow user. If we want that the particular user can run a flow, then we have to enable this flow user setting in our user creation. After that, we have a chat user. So as I told, okay, maybe we have only multiple users we have. They only supporting the customer inquiries, and in inquiry they are responding the chats. So if the user is only they want only access to the chatter group, okay, so in that case we will give a access chat user, so that actually they can work on a chat assistant. They can actually chat with the customer, they can respond the chat of that customer, everything related to chat. After then we have a site.com. So site.com, where you can actually create a community web portals. Okay, so for that, for site.com, if user can access site.com studio to edit site content, so they cannot, if we give this access, they cannot create a new site in our Salesforce application, but they can edit the site content, whatever site content we have, like similar to the WordPress, we have a website creation, we are do a lot of content management. Similar to that, we have a site.com in our Salesforce. So if the user only want to edit the thing, we can give a site.contributor. He is just contributing, but he is not creating. So giving him access to create styles, website, or the other layout and other thing, we have to give the access site.com publisher user. So once we will give this access, user can actually create different kind of a style for that site. They can change the layout. They can actually add a lot of element on the that site. Another thing as well related to the site only. WTC user, again, this user actually you can say used for sales management and service management tool. Okay, so by default this is normally not used, but if you are running a suite of sales management and service management tool, for that kind of concept you have to enable WTC user. Next we have data.com. So data.com basically used, okay, by the companies, okay, or businesses to get the leads, okay, and the context of the company. Like I am a company and I have an application, okay, which I developed for the healthcare system. Now I want to get all the leads or all the companies who can be, you can say, leads for my application. For that, actually, I can use data.com application. Okay, so data.com user, basically, When we enable this, then only they will able to, the user is able to prospects, user able to see the prospects of the companies, leads and the contacts right in the Salesforce. So basically you can say it's for the marketing people who wants to market your product, but to whom he will market. So for that, he will get the leads from the data.com. This is the source for all his leads. Then we have accessibility mode. So accessibility mode basically is a classic only. Why is a classic only? Because in Lightning by default, accessibility mode is enabled. So accessibility mode basically when you want to run your application in other devices. Okay, like we have some tabs, or you want to run application on other devices like our TVs also. So in that case, some of the features of the Salesforce will not work. Like we have a list view, it will not work. Okay, so in that case, if you want to enable that, then you can go with the accessibility mode. After that, we have a Salesforce CRM content user. So content, we know that okay, now in Salesforce, if you want to save files and other things, then we have a content libraries. So if a user can want to create a libraries, and if they can set up a permission for that library, like okay, I can create libraries for knowledge management. Okay, and after that, I want to share that knowledge management content to my group. So in that case, we have to give that access or user to this access, Salesforce CRM content user access. Then only he will able to create content library, and he and she can share the basically permission for that library. So these are the very important point for the user creation. We will see after some time in demo. Then what are the things required? What are the, in these terms, what are the important points which we required for the user creation? So these are the 5 important points which we have to set up, or we have to give while creating a new user. Username, which is very important. Based on that only you will be able to log in into system. Email is required because after that user creation, whatever thing like you want to change the password or other thing, you have to go with the email concept. So that's why email is required. First name and last name is very important. Who is the user, to identify who is user for that identification, we need first name and last name. License, the license I've already told you, license is very important while creating a user. It says what kind of feature that user is going to use in our Salesforce. So for that we have a license, and our profile, of course, what kind of object and what kind of transaction he can perform, that is for the profile. Now we are discussing about profile. What is profile actually? So profile determines what user can do in our Salesforce application. So what are access is given to him? Like if I have a custom object, in that custom object, what are the things he can? Can he delete records? Can he read records? Can he edit record? Or can he create a new records? So that kind of access, or it's also, the profile is also a lot of feature. I will go in a demo directly. Okay. So after that, profile is simplest way to control data access on a particular type object. This is the simplest way. This or the simplest way, or you can say the first unit of to give access to the particular user. After that, only we have other feature like we have a permission set or the permission set group, custom permission, different kind of other feature we have. But the basic criteria is we have to set a profile first. Then only at later stage we can enable or add those permission set group or other features. We can only assign one profile to any user. It's mandatory for each user. We can assign only one profile, and basically for each user this is mandatory. So let's see actually all those things in a as a demo. Let me go and so if you see this screen, this comes as a 2-factor authentication. where actually it is asking for the second verification. We have already entered login and password, but it is still asking the another verification, so that the user is confirming that is okay, he is the perfect correct user or not. Where is the message? Now let's go in users. So after that, we have to set up a new user. I have already one Disani customer plus, so I can create a new user, because by default in developer development, we can only have two users as a system administrator. So okay, now let's see what our information we have discussed. So you can see role is very important, it's mandatory field. So it's not mandatory. Then we have a user license. What kind of license we have? You can see like we have a chatter external, we have chatter free, we have force.com, we have partner app subscription, we have Salesforce and Salesforce platform. These are multiple different type of licenses. Okay, so right now we normally go with the Salesforce and the Salesforce platform. Normally we use this for customer support executive. We'll go with the chatter external and chatter free. External, again, you know, that is for the external users, and chatter free is for both internal, external, both. So these kind of license we have. After that, we have a profile. Okay, whatever system profile, and whatever you create a new profile also, that will show here. After that, we have discussed marketing user. You have to enable this. Then we have an offline user. So if you want to, any user wants to create work as an offline user, then he can go with this setting. We have knowledge user. Then we have a flow user, service cloud user. If the user wants to work on as a service cloud user, then we have to enable this one. These are site.com contributor user, site.com publisher user, and this one. So after that, okay, then we already discussed these are important thing. Let's discuss these two important more points. This is single sign-on information. So if you want to enable single sign-on SSO between two Salesforce system, okay, then this field Federation ID is important. So why it's important? So let's example, in two system there are two users. Like in both system, Dhanik Sahani is a user. Okay. So now whenever from one system, if I want to enable SSO, so I have to map both users. Okay, so for mapping purpose, whatever string element we will use, we have to put that string element in the Federation ID. So you can think that is a mapping value between two Salesforce org. So there we will use a single sign-on information. Then we have a local setting. This user will work on which kind of time zone, which kind of local, which kind of a language he is using. So time zone is very important in the case if your organization or you're working in a different countries. Okay, let's say some person is working in US and some person works in India. So then you have to specify time zone, and it's very important when actually based on the time zone you are supporting different kind of services. Like maybe in your organization you have many clients, and some of the clients are in India, some of the clients in USA. So normally whoever the customer support executive is there, ideally he should support only the client which is in USA, so that he can understand very well to them. And similar to the India, the person or the client who is in India, they ideally the customer support who is in India, they should support the India clients, so that they will know very well, okay, to them actually those, so that the proper communication will also being done in that case. So local setting or the time zone we have to set up. It's very important, and we should also give access to the user to change this kind of setting. Maybe because it's possible the one user can also work in multiple time zone. Okay, because maybe today he's working in our India time days. So tomorrow he think, okay, I want to go home early, so I want to switch to my US time zone. So he can change the US time zone as well. So this kind of flexibility we should give to user as well, so that he can change their time zone based on the requirement, based on the importance of their work we have. After that, we have our approval setting. This will come, okay, when you are actually implementing the kind of approval process. There you have to use approval setting. Okay, we will see this probably if we can do. Otherwise, this is part of you can say Service Cloud or as a this administration certification. Okay, but we will take care in an maybe possible. We will take care in the this session as well. So these are very important feature. Let's create new user. Test name, last name is important. Okay. Alias actually used, let's take example when the name is very big. Okay, in that case, if you have seen the reports, in the reports actually some these alias is showing instead of when you showing the created user, instead of showing the who has created that record, the alias will be shown in that case. So this is also you can say identification system who has created the records in our system. So at least the report it will be showing this alias only. Okay, then let's create a unique username we have to enable. Okay, after that I'm just setting Salesforce and then I'm putting a system administrator right now. We will change when we create a custom profile. So let's create a new user. So once user is created, the email will be sent to the email provider. There's a different kind of two-factor authentication we have now. Try another way. Get verification code. So we have received one. Okay, this user is created. Okay, now we can enable also. Yeah, so we have created this user. Okay, let's verify this user. So change your password. Okay, the basically once the user has verified, we have to change the password. This is okay. Now the user related stuff is done. After that, whatever application is opening, this is a part of profile. Okay, this is now the part of profile. Now as screen is opening, I am getting different kind of tabs here. These tabs, everything is accessible using the profile. So let's see what are the things available in the profile. Create a new profile. So when we create a new profile, it always asks based on which profile you want to create a separate profile. So basically, you have to use your existing profile. So now let's go with the system administrator. Okay, and see. Let's go. DX demo. Save it. Now you can see that there are a lot of features available in this profile page. So let's see each feature one by one. So first, which kind of profile license is there? So we have used Salesforce license in the profile also. It's showing this profile is a custom profile. After that, the first thing is page layout. In these are the standard page layout information in which actually if you have different kind of record type, for each record type, which kind of page layout will be shown, that we will see, we normally see here. Then we have for same concept is for the custom object. For each custom object, if we have multiple record type, for each record type, which layout will be implemented or will be shown, that we see in the layout section. Then after that, we have a main important point for our secure app series application is field level security. So it's saying that for each object, which kind of actually access you want to give. So we are in the account object. In this account object, whatever the field sublevel, what kind of access you are giving, read access or the read access. So whenever you give edit access, by default read access is given. Okay. So for each object, each field basically, not object, each field, which access you have given, only read or that they can also edit as well. So that field level security will we have to put all those field access detail, and it again is for both for a custom object as well as standard object. Both we have a separate section in the profile page. So for each field, whatever edit or read access you want to give, you have to go and just put in the field level security. So if normally if you see on the page, whenever record you are opening, and if you are not able to see any record or field basically, then you should come and check that, okay, I have access to that field or not. Then we have these custom app setting. So custom app setting basically saying what are the custom application I have installed in application or I have created in this organization or Salesforce org. All those will be applicable here. In those application, which application I am giving access to the user. Okay, like if you see, we have Adobe eSign. Adobe eSign is an app extension product which you use for the digital signature. So I want that, okay, this profile user will able to access Adobe eSign application. So all those application, what it could be your application as well as the app extension product as well, both. So in which application you want to give access to the particular profile user, so you have to put there. So like we have a lightning user app, you have marketing app, we have a sales app. So by default, every application is marked as a visible, and this application sales is marked as a default. So by default, this application is a default application for that particular profile user. So in whatever like a CTI toolkit, I don't want to give access to the particular profile user, then I will disable it, and they will not able to see CTI toolkit information app basically. So this section is related to the application which profile user can access. Then we have a connected app access. So connected app access, whatever application which is available based on the connected app. Connected app, the technology or feature based on that which external system can access our Salesforce system. So like we have Antag migration tool, we have a workbench. These are external application and how they are connected with our system using the connected app. So we have created, or the Salesforce by default, they have created a connected app, and using that connected app, they are able to connect with the Salesforce org. So these are the, by default, these are there. I have created a, say, install GupSup app application or tooling test app application. I have used those. So by default, that's why we have created these connect test tooling test app, session test, or GupSup. I have created a connectivity app in this org, so that's why it's showing in this. So if the particular user can access this connected app or not, that setting is there in this section. After that, we have a service provider access. So service provider by default is showing nothing, so nothing is showing, but where it's actually used. So let's I have discussed about you with SSO, Salesforce single sign-on. In the Salesforce single sign-on, one org can be identity provider and one org will be a service provider. Identity provider who will identify that particular user, that okay, this user is basically authenticated user. Normally, like people using Gmail or the Microsoft, they usually use to, whenever like normally you go in any website and they are asked to authenticate. So you are also getting the Gmail as a authentication system, authorization basically, not authorization system. So similar to that, if we have a two Salesforce system which actually enable at a Salesforce single sign-on, so one Salesforce will be a service provider who actually providing services. So if you are providing services, all those lists will come in this section. Right now it's not, so that's why it's not showing. Otherwise, if you have any service provider for this particular org, then you will get that setting or all those org details. After that, we have a tab setting. Tab basically, again, normally, if I have shown you that these are the tabs. So by default, these are available. Okay. So if you want to disable any of the object as a tab so that it will not be visible to any user of that particular profile, that you can set here. So let's example, by default, home is default on, but if you want to hide it, you can hide using this setting. Let's first see that, then we will see how, or let me 1 second, edit it. So service provider. Okay, now you can see we have three previous value: tab hidden, default off, and default on. Tab hidden basically is hidden for that particular profile user. They cannot add this tab, account branch tab, in our that particular application. For the user, it will be not visible. Default off means it's visible. Basically, it's the user can access this tab, but by default is off. They have to go and add that particular tab in their current when they enable it. Then only it will be available. Otherwise, by default, it will be not visible. So now you can see these tab only by default available. So for them, default is on. And if I want to add, like let me see. These are the tab. So it's default tab. So if any one of you want an additional tab, then you can go there, add more item, and you can search those product which is as a default off, and you can enable. Let's say I want to enable this, and it will be available after that. So you can see this tab is now available in our application for that particular user. So this tab is for showing that particular object tab on the screen so that the user can easily access that particular object. Okay, so for that we can use tab setting. It's again two sections, one for the standard and one for the custom object tab setting. Next, we have administrative permissions. What kind of permissions for that particular application we have given to the profile user? Like multiple applications permissions we have. I cannot go for each one, but let's go to main settings. Like we have a manage public document. So the document basically if the profile user can actually go and create a new document in your Salesforce application, then you have to enable this setting. The similar to we have managed public list view. So we have a list view, okay, in our Salesforce all. So if you want to give a list view access so that they can actually create a new list view and they can edit that list view, then you have to give this kind of setting, permission basically. So similar to that, we have multiple permissions, okay, in profile. So based on the requirement, we have to enable, like we have, you can say, manage community as well. So if that profile user can manage the community or not, based on this, the setting will be taken care. So if you enable it, then only that particular profile user can manage that particular community. Otherwise, they will not able to do that. So all those settings will be actually implemented based on the our requirement, okay, which we have. After that, we have a standard object permission. So these are the object permission. Before that was the you can say field level permissions. Now we have for each object what kind of permission we have given. So in account, can they create or not? Can they edit or not? Can they delete or not? Or those setting is done in this section. So this is for the object. Object means I have an object, and object I can go and create record. In FLS, basically we are given particular object, how many fields are there in those, how many fields I can edit or only I can read. So that is in a field level security. Here is object level security, where actually we are giving access to create, edit or delete. Then we have two additional permission, data administration permission, view all and modify all. So view all basically in the, it will come in the future. Let's example, you have implemented the concept of uh, OWD, where the for each object only the user who has created the record can see that record. So by default, this is enabled. We have enabled. So means if I have created one user, so I can only see that record. Kisan has created that one record in account object, so only Kisan can see. But if we enable that particular profile as a view all, it means I am a user. I can see all records in Kisan also and Dhanik also. Both records I can see. So for that purpose, I can give a view all permission. Modify all, simple is saying that I can modify anyone's record. Everyone's record I can modify. So it's very, we should not give these two permission, view all and modify all, normally to any object, to any profile. Is only given to the system administrator. That's it. This is actually normal best practices you should implement like that. Then we have similar permissions we can give to the custom object as well. After that is platform event. So if you have created any platform event in your org, so for those platform event, if you want to give access to this profile user or not, that is done by this section basically. These are the platform events which I have created, like the product event, exception log event. These are the product platform event which I have created. So if I want to give access to these permission to create or read, I have given those setting here. Now we have a desktop integration client. We already discussed for the offline user. If we have those kind of setting, if you require, so for those we can set up here. So what setup? Let's, by default offline user is there, but if the offline user is on now, so what will we have to do? Like, should we as soon as they are online to the system, should they what action should be performed? We should, no update means no update will be done in the system. On update basically is update all the data and give alert as well. Without alert and with alert, basically it's saying, okay, means as soon as it's connected, okay, how many records we have to update in our system, that information as alert will come. And after that alert, it will actually sync the records in the desktop application. So those kind of setting, you can go and use the desktop integration client. After that is very important, two sections we have for session setting and the password policy. So session setting, session timeout after, basically if the user is inactive for 2 hours or how many hours, then that particular session will time out. So that setting we have to put here. Normally we have by default is 2 hours, but we can also set up as a 15 minutes of any activity. Let's uh, I was working, but my friends came to my desk. I keep talking to him. Okay, and after 2 hours of inactivity, that system will time out. So if you want to change that setting, that you can change here. Then we have sessions security level required at login. So this kind of setting, okay, normally high assurance basically it's saying to if you want to implement and multiple layers of authentication, like we have two-factor authentication. If you want to go with multiple layer authentication, basically, then you have to use high assurance. Right now, let's when we log in, we entering username and password. After that, if the device or the browser is being changed, then we will ask OTP is being sent to our email. After that also, those two-factor authentication, if you want to add additional layer of authentication, then you have to enable this setting, high assurance. To third level, fourth level, or fifth level, how many level you want to add, you can add using this high assurance. After that, we have enable different login policy for the community internal user. So basically, if you want to give internal user less restrictive, basically, so internal user have higher accessibility to the community internal user. Like I am the community user, and Kishan is basically a normal CRM user. Then he has a higher access more than me to that particular Salesforce application. Separate community and Salesforce login authentication for internal users. So basically, I am the person who is a CRM user as well as a community user. So in that case, I have two separate login will be created in the same org. Or if we enable this setting, then okay. So basically, for me, two user will be created in the Salesforce system. One for the CRM, one for the community user. Relax login IP restriction. So relax login IP restriction, basically when you are implementing IP restriction for the user, means maybe you are one of the your application is for the customer executive, and you want that those customer executive, they can only work within this IP address, like 192.168.001 from 192.168.00255. This is the IP range I have to restrict those customer executive. So they can only log in through that IP address only. But if you don't want to restrict that restriction, then you can relax that IP restriction. Okay. So using this, they can actually log in from any system or any browser basically. Skip device activation. So skip, you can say don't require verification when an internal user logs into community user from a new browser or the device. So let's example, I told I am an internal user as well as I am the community user. So if I am an internal user and I'm community user both, so in that case, don't go for the device activation simply because I am the internal user also. So it's not required verification. So for that setting, we can enable skip device activation setting. Allow auth for the internal user. So again, if I am the internal user from the community, if I am logging on, so in that case, should I go for auth for that user or not? So for that setting, we have to enable or allow auth for internal user. Then we have a password policy. These are the session related settings, okay, where actually you want to monitor the sessions of that particular user. Like after some time, how many times the session should log out, or you want to restrict or the user can only log into these IP restriction, IP addresses, those kind of settings. We have a session settings section, and it's very important. And this setting you can do enable in that connected app as well. Whenever you create a connected app and you want that particular external application can only access our Salesforce application from these IP address, then you should also go through the connected app. Similar setting is also there in connected app. Then we have a password policy. So password is again is very important for, you can say, to implement in our system. If you are not implementing better password policy, then again is the problem where you are risk where anybody can come and actually they can log in your system. So just take example. I am a user, okay, and so I am administrator. I have created two users for different users, And for both user, by default, our system say, okay, some random password is created, okay, and it will send to email. But after that login, if they are not changing and same password is there, of course, anybody can actually guess that password and they can enter into this different system. They actually can delete your data as well. So for that, password restriction, password policy is very important for every organization. So what policies we can do implement in a Salesforce? So first is user password expiring. By default, the password of that particular user of that profile will expire in 90 days. If you want to change, then you can change as well. It's 30 days. After the 30 days, or let's say after the 90 days, password of that particular user is expired. So when after the expiring, if they try to enter into the system, they will not able to enter. Because the password expired, they have to reach to the system admin, then only they can actually log into the system. Then we have enforced passwords history. So after whenever I'm logging and I'm changing, giving a wrong password. So after the how many password, no, it's not related, sorry. Enforced password history say, so when I'm changing the password, how many password I can remember. So you can say the C password is remembered. So for that you can enforce password history. How many history is simply saying what is the history of the password. So 3 password normally I will remember. Minimum password length, how many character I can put in the password, and in that password what is the complexity of the password, like must include alphanumeric and different kind of complexity we have, like we have must include 3 of the following numbers, uppercase letter, lowercase letter, and special characters. So different kind of options we have based on the your organization. I should likely we should go with the must include 3 of the following, these things. So it's the most restrictive now. So we have to give the complexity requirement, then we can use this drop down. After that, password question requirement. So, hello? Anybody has question? No. So,
No, sir.
password question requirement is saying so. So it's saying so whenever the question password is being changed. So do you want to ask question or not? Okay. So it's saying cannot contain a password. Password question requirements. So it cannot contain password. None. I'm sorry. Actually, I don't know what is actually its use. I will update you on this feature actually. Password question requirement. Or anybody has idea about this?
Sir, I think when we are the creating password, that time some question will ask like city where you are
Like where
born.
you are born and what is your favorite pet something like.
Right. You normally which we
We
when I
can
have
use
created
it
a password.
while recovering password.
Right. Thank you both of you. So maximum invalid login attempts. Now number is we have answered 10. So basically say normally people take after 3 login attempt you cannot enter into the system, which is normally is done by the bank system or most restrictive organization. So now in your organization, how many attempts you want to give to users so that actually they can log in. After that login attempt, that probably that user will be logged out. Lockout effective period after how many minutes the lockout will be done. So it's by default the 15 minutes. Then we have obscure secret password for the password reset, require minimum 1 day password lifetime, and don't immediately expire links in the forget password. So again, obscure, I am not sure what is used for that, but require a minimum 1 day password lifetime is if I have changed the password today, I cannot change the password again. Okay, today itself. I can change the password after 1 day, next day basically. Don't immediately expire links in the forget password emails. So basically, once I have sent an email, whenever we change the password, an email is sent to the user. So after that, we change to the user when they hit the link. Okay, after that link, if you want to expire that particular link, then you have to enable this. Also, you don't basically if by default it will expire, but if you want that, okay, that link will not expire immediately after the link is clicked. Okay, so in that case, you can go with this setting. So these are the restriction, these are the setting which we can do on the profile level. So let's create one profile, and what we can do, we have a user. We can see that the product is shown. So I am changing the product should not be visible to the particular user. So where is the product? Custom tab, product event, this. So I'm marking as a tab hidden. Okay, and creating this profile. Because I have already created the new user, let me change the profile of that particular user with this newly created profile. So SFDX demo. I have created this one, edit, changing to the SFDC demo, save. Let me go to that application. Now you can see the product is not available now because we have hidden that profile user now. Because this hidden tab is hidden, we cannot see that profile. Even if you go there and if you try to add that product, by default is showing that it's not good. It's added. There's no difference between the hidden and then default on. So you may say is by default is hidden. So let me change with the other setting now then. Let's go and change test SFD demo. Product. This is standard. Let's go the custom. Tab it and default off. No impact. So I don't think is idly in the tab hidden. It should not show. Okay, so let's go in that any of the object in let's vendor, and let's see any record we have or not. So we have, and we can see actually we can create a new vendor. So let's what we can go and we can actually restrict that this user cannot create a record in our system. Okay, so for vendor object, we will go in that object level access, not the FLS field level. So we can go in the record level access. Okay, this is the user in the custom object. In custom object, we have a vendor object. In that vendor object, we have given all access. So what we can do, we can enable for only read. First is read. So let's give him only read access and save it. Let's see it's changing or not. So now you can see all those buttons related to the create, edit, or everything is now normal here in this screen. So it's actually monitored or actually being controlled by that profile. So after that, let's change it back to the same setting, and then we'll see the edit access or the field level access. Now, if you go in any of the object, and you can see a lot of fields available. At least we have right now, we have only detail and the vendor name. So if we can change, we can edit. So in edit, we have only one object. one field only. Let's use some other object where we have multiple fields. Okay, so you can see we have multiple records, and every field is actually we can change it. So we can change this field. Let's make this field read only for this particular user group. Is for the product order, and in product order we can go field level security, custom object, product order. Where is yes? We go in the product order, edit it, and for the quantity field, let me just remove the edit access, save it, and let's try to edit the same record. It's changing sometime. Not of use. What could be the problem then? We have given the edit access, but after that, we have given a field level
Sir, I
access.
think we have. I think, sir, we need to log out and then again log in.
That could be the reason actually. Let's try once again then. If it's the reason or something different we have in this concept. We have test. Because Chrome normally gets the data, okay? Okay. Remind me later. It is still available. Then it's weird. Then again, two things I have to check. Okay, then these 2 points I have to actually verify and then I will confirm, because either way, if I have edit access, okay, through the profile, but field level access is not given, so I should not able to edit at least that field.
Sir, there is any chance like to override the profile level access?
Profile level access, of course, we are overriding using the permission set, no?
Yes, sir. Suppose like there is two user and both are the same profile.
Same profile, okay.
Yes, and we are giving the read access only to the account object.
Okay.
But I want for a particular user to give the some access, like he can create a record. So this thing we can do.
Using profile you should not do, or it will not be done. For that, what you have to do, your profile will be same for both user, but
Yes.
for the second user where you want to give a create access, we will create a new permission set for him and we will assign permission set on that user, and this way they can go and create a new user, new
Also,
record.
if like if we made like the OWT public read write, then sir.
Even public read write is not impact, okay, because you have already set up public read or write. Basically, again, those are for sharing information, giving access, extra share permission. OWT is just helping you to give access to the record, right? So
Yes.
if you have a read only in the system, how you will enable to read public read edit, you are saying, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
OWD is by default giving a public read. Using a profile, it ideally should not give.
Okay.
Let's check with. You have profile. You are saying one account. You are saying.
Yes, sir. Any object. Yeah.
But I cannot, so because we have only two user we can create, and for that. Public read. By default is public read. Okay, so you are saying that when same user have two users have public access, read access, and then by default it will be public read write. So in that case, if we even if it is given, it will be given to both, not for a single user.
So then, sir, any idea like we can give this type of access only to one user? Like,
Also for that, we have permission set for that, right?
okay, so we have to go with the permission set.
Actually, that is the best practices comes in discussion. Profile, whenever we create a profile, we should only create a minimum access profile. Just give minimum access to that profile. After that, you should go and create a permission set where you will implement all those settings, like whatever the object access you should give using the permission set. So let's say example, one of the user you don't want to give access, just don't assign that permission set, or you can create a different permission set for different users, and you can give those permission set based on the your access you want to give them.
So, sir, when we are the creating permission set, like, so only we can assign on the user level, or we can also assign on the profile level.
Profile level. 1 second. Let's go in the profile itself. FDX demo. Now you can see whatever the permission sets we have these setting only. So basically below, okay, so now you get login hours, login IP range, enable API access, and these for the external data source, named credential, metadata, custom setting, and flow, enable service response, custom permission, and the community. We don't have profile, also permission set. Reason why that is not reason is we have created profile, and on the profile itself we are enabling permission set. Then why we are going with the permission set? We can simply put all those settings in the profile itself, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So there is no use of permission set in that case if you want to implement on the profile level itself. So that's why permission set is governed or implemented in the user level. For each user or multiple user, we can go a separate permission set. And that's why we said multiple profile we can also create. But in that case also, we will give a minimum level of profile access to the profile basically. In object, normally we should just give a read access. We should not give a edit access on the profile level. Edit access, creation read access, we should go with the permission sets. Okay.
Okay. And sir, what about this? The enable custom permission. There is, sir, anyway like we can create one custom permission.
Custom permission is used for the code-based security, code-based access you want to give.
Sir, can we do like this? Like we create one custom permission. Right. Inside that custom permission, we will assign that permission set. We can do.
I don't think we can assign a custom permission set in custom group. Let's create one permission, custom permission. Okay, this is created. Now you create a custom group. Okay, test. And save it. And it is created. You are not saying any permission set here.
Okay.
Custom permission normally used when you want to go with the code-based permissions for specific user, specific set. Okay. So in that case, let's example, you have a different profile user. One is for the sales agent, one for the supervisors. For these two profiles, and you want that particular code can only work with this custom permission. There you can create a custom permission and just put that in a code. Okay, this when this user is for this particular permissions, then run this code, otherwise don't run.
Okay, sir. Got it. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other question we have?
So from my side, that's all.
Okay, actually I missed all those features. So again, these are the additional feature we can give access to the user. Like first is login hours. Login hours basically telling that user that particular profile user can only work within particular time. Like we have a 9 to 6 shift. On Sunday they can work from this to this time. They have this time restriction. So basically, what is the hours? Basically, where actually the user can work on that particular profile. That setting is that login hours. Then we have login IP range. You have to mention all those IP ranges which we have discussed. Okay, for particular IP range only the user can actually enter into the system. So you have to mention all the IP ranges in this section. Then we have enable Apex classes. Whatever Apex class access you want to give to that profile, you have to select all those classes actually in this. So by default, actually I have enabled for everyone. That's why it's showing everything. Next, we have visual force page. So if you have multiple visual force page, these profile users can access which VF page. We can add those VF page here. Then we have external data source. So if you have basically connected or integrated some external data source like big data or some other Gmail data or some other applications data, then if you want to use which external data access you want to give this profile user, you can add this here. Then we have name credential. We can create name credential in our Salesforce, or for which name credential this user can access. You can give those all name credential detail in this section. Custom metadata, again, custom metadata is used for when you go with the dynamic configuration applications. Okay, probably we can see it later state for which metadata type you want to give access to this profile. That will come here. If you will not give access, ideally they should not get access to those metadata type. Similar to the custom meta setting, which custom setting they can access using this profile, we have to enable all those things. If you have 5 custom settings, if you want to access to only 2 settings, custom setting, then you should only select 2 settings here. Rest they will not have access. Flow access, this profile user can access flow or not. That you can add all those flow details. Like I have 5 flow in our Salesforce, or okay, and in that 5 flow, I want to give access to only 2 flow for this profile. Then you just select only 2 flow. Let's example, you will go in this section, and all the list of all flow will come, and you can select it. Similar feature, similar to the other feature, it's showing all those existing metadata, custom setting, flow. You have to enable all those setting before using. Then we have service presence. Service presence basically when you have enabled omni-channel. And omni-channel, what kind of service presence? Like you want to give access or basically to select user or the agent. Like they have option to select and they have option to reject. While rejecting also they can give, okay, why I'm busy. Like for example, I am rejecting your call, but what is the reason? I am busy, I am working with other project, I am in lunch, I am a break area or something. All those presence status we can maintain in this section, enable service presence status. Then we have custom permission. We just discussed if we have created custom permission in Salesforce, or for which custom permission this profile user can actually access. So this is for that section. And default community, if we have multiple community in the system, so which community is the default community for this particular profile? Okay, so for that setting, we will use default community setting. So I think profile thing is complete. So, okay, so if you have other questions, then we will discuss. Otherwise, we can close today's session. In